No matter how much you might dislike certain aspects of Donald Trump, he is the free speech candidate in this election, and that's why I'm going to ask you to vote for him. All right, man?
That was a very good reason.
If I had to pick between the two today, I would probably pick Kamala.
That's honest. That's honest.
But
you're still undecided.
I'm coming to ask you a question.
You got an open
to learn
mind
more.
still.
Yeah. Right now, my biggest turnoff from Trump is the handling of the 2020 election and January 6th. I don't feel that I should vote for someone who's not going to respect my vote if it's not for him.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Okay, that's interesting. So the student just said, and it's a student versus Vivek Ramaswamy, who is for the Trump administration. If you guys don't know, and my name is Elifar Jojo. I'm a college student looking at these debates because these are my peers. The student said he doesn't want to vote for anyone who will not respect his vote, and I think that's a fair stance. I will beg this question, and this is a question, not a statement. President Barack Obama recently scrutinized black men for, saying that we need to do better regarding our voting. And that's what Obama said, who was for the Kamala's administration, or who was for Kamala's administration. Why do you support him and his team, but do not support Trump if you believe that you shouldn't be voting for someone who will not respect your vote? If in most recent history, the people who will not respect your vote have been on the Democratic side. Biden said also regarding Trump's voters that they are not good people. That's what Biden implied. And Barack also said that black men need to do better because we're not voting enough for Kamala Harris. So the biggest recent showings of people not respecting votes have been Democratic, and you're voting Democratic. So are you being a hypocrite, or am I just overreaching? What's the problem here? Just let me know. That's a question. It has nothing to do with how I voted personally. But anyways, let's continue.
Here's the best measure of the health of American democracy. I'll tell you what it is. It's not the number of green pieces of paper in our bank account. It's not even the number of ballots that get cast every November. The best measure of the health of our democracy is the percentage of people who are able to say what they actually think in public, just as you are right now. Right? And even if you leave this, say you want to vote for Kamala Harris, I will, and Donald Trump will always fight to the death for your right to say it. Here's what happened in 2020. They told you that if you said the COVID began in a lab in China, to shut up, sit down, you're a racist, silence your social media accounts, censor if you'd be able to say it. The Hunter Biden laptop story on the eve of the last election censored the New York Post's accounts on Twitter, on every other social media platform. You couldn't even send it on direct message, like email to your friends. No, you were physically blocked from doing it. And then we were told that, okay, at least you get an election to sort this out. And the way the elections were conducted in the back of COVID really suffocated the voices of Americans. So if you tell people they can't speak, that is when they scream. If you tell people they can't scream, that's when they start to tear things down. And so do I like what happened on January 6th? No, I don't. And does Donald Trump? No, he doesn't either. And we share a love of this country to make sure something like that never happens again. But the way we do that is by actually allowing people to speak instead of censoring them. And the real threat to democracy is coming from the pro-censorship side. So if you ask me, let me ask you a question. Who do you think is more okay with censorship of political views in this country today? Is it Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
In my opinion, Donald Trump.
So I respectfully disagree with you. What evidence do you have for that view? Let me, I'm going to ask, we're going to go through this. He's being respectful. We're going to treat him respectfully. We will give him the courtesy that the left would not if the equivalent of a MAGA hat wearer showed up at a left-wing version of this, okay? So I'll tell you this. Give me evidence of where Donald Trump suppressed somebody else's view from being expressed.
I don't have it on the top of my head.
Now, may I give you evidence?
Yeah, of course.
May I give you evidence?
That's why I'm here.
If you said that you're against school lockdowns, which is a Republican view, YouTube took down your videos. If you said that the Hunter Biden laptop story was real, your social media account was shut down. If you said that COVID-19 began in a lab in Wuhan, all of these things we now know to be true, you were shut down, in part at the direction of Democratic, bureaucratic actors, and many in the Democratic Party favoring that to protect the public from so-called misinformation. So I'll ask you again, when you look at the record of evidence of which party has been more in favor of censorship, do you believe right now that's the Democratic Party or the Republican Party?
Based off what you said, the Democrats, but I'm sure there's evidence on both sides.
So I don't think there's evidence on both sides, but what I'll give you is the best argument for that they make.
I will say this. I don't think that there's... Well, I'm not going to say I don't think. I don't know if there's evidence on both sides. If you look at Republican talking pages such as Fox or Charlie Kirk or all these YouTube pages or whatever, one thing they will do is just commentate on Republican issues that they think are important, such as the economy or, other things like that. And they just don't mention a lot of things that leftists or Democratic places think that are important. I don't think that's censorship. I just think that's, talking about what you deem important. But one thing I've noticed on the left is that they will practice censorship or promote censorship. Even to the point they created a new word for it called social media moderation. They call it moderating. They don't even call it censorship. Whereas they will strike you down for posting certain things. They will not allow you to talk about certain things. They will blackball you for talking about certain things. That happens more on the left rather than the right. I don't know of any instances where I can think of where a right-leaning source downright censored someone from saying what they believe. If anything, I would say it's the opposite, which is crazy considering the right is conservative, meaning that you are more conservative. You do more conservative things. Nowadays, it's the complete opposite, where you have conservative people going out there speaking to people and posting an entire video unedited. You have conservatives going out their way to get their message across, whereas leftists, you don't really hear from them. Let me know if you've ever heard a leftist pundit go out there and just talk to people, sit down and just talk to people and post a completely unedited video. Let me know. Let me know when was the last time you've seen a leftist person in power post a completely unedited video. It just doesn't happen. It will never happen. It had not happened in the past 10 years. It will not happen. It has not happened. But you see it all the time on the right. And that's what you mean by social media moderation and censorship. But let me know what you guys think.
The best argument they make is we need to protect the people from misinformation. Okay, they would say that if the voters are not well informed, they can't actually have a true democracy because you have to be able to protect people from hearing the wrong thing. That's their view. They're not even defending the First Amendment or free speech anymore. But what they're saying is that you got to have modifications to the First Amendment to be able to make sure that voters aren't misled. Here's my view and here's Donald Trump's view. The right answer to bad speech is not less speech. It is more speech. So let me ask you, as a voter, tell me your name again? Evan. Do you believe it is a more important objective to preserve the freedom to express any opinion in America? Or do you believe that it's okay to censor sometimes as long as you're limiting the amount of misinformation? I'm framing it fairly here. Which one do you think is actually more important?
I think censoring the right people, like people high up, from stopping misinformation, like stopping the...
But how do you know what type of censorship is actually censoring the right information, and who gets to decide that?
That's a very good question.
So our founding fathers had a view on this matter. They believed that any opinion gets to be expressed. That doesn't mean somebody gets to walk in here and say, I'm gonna kill you all or whatever. Nope, that's not an opinion. That's a threat. That doesn't mean that you get to sell somebody some kind of snake oil that's going to kill them and tell them it's a medicine. That's commercial fraud. But the expression of any opinion, no matter how heinous it is, that's what the First Amendment protects. And I think the Democratic view today is that there are certain opinions that are so heinous that you don't get to express them in the United States. They call it hate speech. And the Republican view, and this is why you got former Democrats now coming over to the Republican side, including up to, my favorite of them, Elon Musk, who's a free speech absolutist, formerly a Democrat, now with us, is the belief that even if you disagree with me, you get the right to say it. And so if you're on the side, there's a trade-off, because that means some people are going to hear views they don't like. Some people sometimes might even be misled by those views. That's a trade-off. We accept that. That's what makes America great. But you have a choice in this election. If you want to favor the party that coddles the public and say you don't get to hear certain views, I couldn't tell you vote for Donald Trump. I'd tell you that means you're a Kamala Harris voter. But if you believe, as our founders did, that this is the country where no matter what your opinion is, you get the freedom to actually express it as an American, then there's only one right choice in this election, and that's Donald Trump. So I'd ask you, between now and the election, think about yourself, how much you value the freedom you just expressed and exercised right now to come to this microphone without any police officer here taking you to one side because what you said was unpopular here. If you value that freedom, no matter how much you might dislike
certain aspects of Donald Trump, he is the free speech candidate in this election, and that's why I'm going to ask you to vote for him. All right, man?
That was a very good reason. I really do appreciate Vivek Ramaswamy explaining it so well. And the reason I like his explanation is because every single person has their own set of beliefs, and every single person has their own set of policies that they want passed. And this doesn't about if you're left or right. You have your own core values. Mine specifically being an economy. I want a strong economy because I believe that that's the foundation of America. We are the most capitalist country in the world. We need a strong economy. That's how we think. That's how we pick our careers. That's how we pick our lives. We need that. That's what I deem as important. He said free speech. He believes that there should be free speech. And if that's what you want, I would just question your, critical thinking if you believe that in this specific election, the Democratic side represented free speech. I'm not going to say the Democratic side has never represented free speech. I just believe in the past, I want to say 8 years, it just wasn't that on their side. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't. But you guys may have different opinions. Let me know what you think in the comments below. My name is LFR Jojo, and I'll see you guys later.